anything. It's better than anything you will find in the DC EU, including Shazam. And Shazam is my favourite DC movie. Yes, better than The Dark Knight. Don't at me. Hello and welcome. This is possibly one of the weirdest videos that I'm going to do. I'm going to go through my entire catalogue, if you will, of PS4 games. Lighting is a bit weird. Hopefully that's better. No idea if that's better. I don't think that's better. Try that one. That I think is better. I think. But yeah, we'll do this a bit kind of raw styly. Yeah, I'm gonna go through my entire PS4 collection. Here we go. Also, new hair. I look like a nice gem once again. I'm gonna dye it. Remember when all the cool kids, all the cool YouTubers were dyeing their hair back in 2016? I'm gonna dye my hair. I'm going red. Yeah. Axiom Verge. Axiom Verge is one of the weirdest games I've ever played. Essentially, if you've ever played Metroid, if you've ever played Super Metroid on the SNES, this is that. It's very, very interesting. I haven't played enough of it to say if it's good or bad. I haven't beaten the game. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoy what I have played of it. But I need to beat the game before I give an actual opinion about it. It's good from what I have seen, from what I've played myself. Batman Arkham Knight, the biggest disappointment of the last decade. Batman Arkham Knight, in my opinion, is still an amazing game. It's just I'm a bit sick of the Arkham franchise, and can we just move on to something else now? I really am just sick of this. I'm sick of this gameplay style that's being repeated in every other game. So it's like, oh, we've got a superhero franchise. What we're gonna do? We'll just do what Batman did. Just do what Batman did, and like, it's a great game. It's great objectively or subjectively, whatever means, like, overall. It's a good game. It's just there's a lot of things, a lot of niggles that I personally have that annoy me, and there's way too much Batmobile. Bloodborne can go suck a dick. I love this game, but I hate this game. It's so good and so hard, and oh my god, this game is both amazing, beautiful. The world, it sucks you in. It makes you feel every punch, every hit, every slash, everything. Every enemy is a... Well, that fell down. Every enemy is a test of will. Every enemy is a test in its own right. Every enemy is a boss fight in its own right, and that is the most amazing thing about this game. Is you feel everything, and you're so on edge, you're so frightened throughout the entire game. One hit could kill you, and it's like it's honestly, it is a beautiful game. It is so expertly made. Darksiders 2, the Definitive Edition. Get it? Because you play as Death. It's the Definitive Edition. Yeah, I love this game. I love it. Death is daddy. First of all, Death is really fun to play, and it's so smooth. It has that kind of gameplay style, that kind of God of War-ish, like the old God of War, kind of combat style, and like the bosses are good. They serve the game's purpose, but they're not anything to write home about. The only thing I didn't like is the final boss is a bit too easy, and the whole game overall is a bit easy. Like, I got through the game very quickly. What can I say? It only took me like 20 hours. I thought the game was going to be a bit longer, a lot more like in depth, but I mean, there's a lot of depth to the game, and there's a lot of depth to the whole like style of the game, and like the whole like gear system and everything, but there's not a lot of like depth to the lore, which is interesting, since it's taking directly from the Bible, which has a very deep, rich lore, but this just doesn't. This is just, oh, it's devils, it's angels, end of the world, blah. Who really cares? And there's a certain bit where you go to Earth, and it becomes a third-person shooter, and it's not really fun. Everything's falling down now. Everything's falling down now. That is not going to work. But yeah, this is. It's honestly, it's a great game. I love the game. But yeah, there's niggles, there's bits of the game that annoy me. Destiny is a load of crap. Destiny is a turd on a turd on a turd. I didn't even bother with 2. I couldn't be arsed. But Destiny can go suck a massive penis. It's so bad. It's Warframe without any of the character of Warframe, if you know what I mean. It's kind of it's terrible. It's just terrible. I don't get the popularity of it. It's probably because I'm not a shooter guy. I don't like FPS games. You won't find a single Call of Duty in my collection. You won't find a single one. This is the only shooter that I own, and it was only £2. I was like, I'll pick it up. It's only £2. But yeah, it's absolutely god awful. Devil May Cry 5. This should have been Game of the Year last year. This was so good. The way that you can play 3 characters and have them all feel different, have them all feel fun. I was like, V looks like he would be the most annoying character to play as. I love playing as V. I love playing as Dante. I love playing as like Nero. I love playing as all of these characters, and they are all. And the way the combat is done, it's like no other game. It's like Platinum Games, but Platinum Games the old, like Bayonetta and stuff. It's so good. It's so fluid. And yeah, you can say, oh, there's not much story, or the story's a bit myth. But Devil May Cry's never been about the story. It's been about combat, and it's been about how flashy the moves are, and it's been about like just making you feel like a badass, but also having you feel shit scared of everything that's around you. And Devil May Cry 5 does that brilliantly. It's such a brilliant game. This is going to be a long one, by the way, so yeah, get yourself a cup of tea. Dragon Age Inquisition is so eh. I love the game, and there's a lot to love about the game, and it's a really rich, deep world. But the way the game ends, first of all, it leaves you on a cliffhanger that you've got to buy DLC to see what's up with that, and I don't really like that. Can't you just give us the full story? I don't like DLC in the first place. I don't like DLC. I don't like having to pay extra to get the full experience. Why don't you just give us the whole game and give us the option of paying for the customizable stuff? If you have to pay more, like an extra 25 quid to get a boss rush, you know, I'm not doing it. Or I did do it, and I feel extremely bad for doing it. I can't just ring up PlayStation and say, "Can I have my money back?" It just feels dirty. You know, DLC's just dirty. But yeah, Dragon Age Inquisition as a game, from start to finish, bloody brilliant. But the ending is so bad, and the final boss is just too easy. It's like the final boss of a game should be the ultimate test, the ultimate challenge. It should be the hardest thing you have to fight in that whole game. In this, the final boss is just a bullet sponge. Well, not a bullet sponge, but he's the equivalent of a bullet sponge in a sword and sorcery Dragon Age game. He's the equivalent of someone just standing there, occasionally attacking you, but just standing there and absorbing all the damage. And it takes like half an hour to beat him, but he does nothing. And there's no challenge there. It's just boring. Every other boss fight in the game, every other encounter in the game, is so much more interesting than the final boss. It leaves a really sour note in your mouth. Final Fantasy 15. This is such a good game that no one loves and no one cares about. It's like everyone says that Final Fantasy 15 is the worst Final Fantasy game. Is it though? Is it though? Yes, it's shorter than every other Final Fantasy game. Yes, it's not as deep. Yes, there's not as much like character development, but also it's such a beautiful game. The last few hours, the last like 5 hours of the game, had me gripped. I was so like emotionally invested in everything that was going on that by the end of it I was weeping. I was literally in tears, and yeah, and everything else that I kind of see is, oh, the game's not that good, and it's not that good compared to other Final Fantasy games. Just take it for its own merits, and take it for its own, like, for what it is, and take it as a like product on its own, and you will enjoy it even more. You will enjoy it more if you just think, right, it's Final Fantasy 15. It's not another Final Fantasy game. It's a game of its own merits. And you can say, yeah, it's not as good as a standard Final Fantasy game. It's better than 12. It's better than 12. God of War. What can I say about God of War that hasn't been said already? It's beautiful, it's stunning, it's breathtaking. Boy. I can't say any more about God of War that hasn't already been said. It's possibly one of my new favourite games. It's certainly my favourite game that I own on the Ps4, which is a large undertaking because Spider-Man came out. You know how much I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is amazing. No pun intended. And Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. And Kingdom Hearts 3 came out and it was a bit of a letdown, and DLC came out and I actually bought it, and the DLC is the most disappointing thing I've ever spent money on. It's the worst 25 quid I've ever spent, because it's essentially just a boss rush. It's the last 5 hours of the game. It's the last like 3 or 5 hours of the game, with, you know, a bit where Mickey's walking, and you control Mickey whilst he's walking like this, and it's not interesting at all. God of War, on the other hand, is probably the best 20 quid I've ever spent on a game. It's so good. And yeah, the ending, spoilers for God of War if you haven't played it. Atreus is Loki. Yeah, that shocked me at the end. And Thor shows up at the end, so you're going to be fighting Thor at the start of the next one. And Thor's probably going to be the boulder. He's probably going to be the boulder of the next game, which I fucking love. It's like, you only did that because he's popular because of the Marvel films, and because he's a popular character in Marvel. That's the only reason why people care about Thor. It's the only reason why people care about Norse mythology. Like, and you get an Infinity Gauntlet. You get the equivalent of an Infinity Gauntlet in the game. You can buy something that's the equivalent of the Infinity Gauntlet, even though Kratos is not a Marvel character. Kratos is just a video game character that, you know, is now firmly cemented in fighting characters that even are only popular because, yes, Norse mythology is its own thing, but the characters from Norse mythology are only popular because they're in Marvel. That's the only reason why they're popular. Next up, Injustice Gods Among Us. I'm one of the people that really loves this game. I'm not big on fighting games, but I'm big on DC. DC I love, which you probably wouldn't get from the channel as a whole. I love DC Comics. I love them as a brand. I grew up with Justice League. First of all, I grew up with the Justice League show. I grew up with the 2003 Batman show as well. All of it bloody brilliant. Say what you will about the movies. I think the new ones are good. I think Shazam, Aquaman, amazing movies. But yeah, Injustice Gods Among Us is amazing. I love it. I love the sequel. I'm going to talk about the sequel a bit more now. Yeah, the sequel is good, and it gives you stuff to do when you're done. It gives you stuff to do when you're done, because the DLC in this is actually worth it. Because who do you get with a DLC? You get sodding. It's only a fucking heckin' Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's only a heckin' Hellboy. You know, you can get Hellboy to fight Batman. Hellboy fights Batman in this game. It's the only thing where you can get Hellboy to fight Batman. I love Injustice 2, not just for the story, because the story is bloody brilliant. It's better than anything you will find in the DC EU, including Shazam. And Shazam is my favourite DC movie. Yes, better than The Dark Knight. Don't at me. But yeah, Shazam better than Dark Knight. That's the takeaway of this video. Shazam is better than The Dark Knight. That's going to get me a lot of angry comments. I can just see it now. Kingdom Hearts 3. Biggest disappointment of the decade for me. Apart from Justice League. I still love the game. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that Pixar characters are in it now. I love the fact that Wreck-It Ralph is a summon. I love the gameplay. I love the world. I love everything about it. They took out Final Fantasy characters. I'm okay with that, because they were just side characters anyway. They don't really influence the plot apart from Cloud, maybe Sephiroth because he's a boss. And yeah, there's some bosses that you could have put in here, some summons that you could have put in here that like were from Final Fantasy, like Bahamut. Can we see Bahamut as a summon, please, in Kingdom Hearts? Can we do it now, please? You know, Kingdom Hearts DLC. You know, you should have given us what we wanted. You know, you gave us Final Fantasy characters like 5 seconds, and then you gave us a boss rush. You gave us the data battles, which, you know, were included in Kingdom Hearts 2. You got them with the game. Why do we have to pay an extra £25 or dollars or whatever your currency is to fight 13 new bosses with barely any gameplay? It's annoying, but yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3, I loved it, but I couldn't help feeling that it felt rushed for a game that was being hyped for 7 years almost. For 6 years, it felt rushed. It felt like they didn't polish it, which is weird because the game looks beautiful, but the ending, the way the ending is, it didn't feel the same finishing this as it did finishing Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, or any of the other games. It just didn't feel as impactful. I think that was because they killed everyone off and then brought everyone back in the space of like 30 minutes. And yeah, it's yeah, but I do love the game. I can't knock it because at the end of the day, it had a lot of fun. It had a lot of fun with what it was. Knack. I love Knack. As a game, it's got problems. It's got a lot of problems. It's a below average 3D platformer with it wants to make a mascot for PlayStation. It wants to make a new PlayStation mascot. The only problem is that they chose a character design that was terrible. Knack is not a character that you can get a 3-year-old to draw and it would be instantly recognisable. Knack is a character that you need a really talented artist to make a rendition of. That's the ultimate problem with Knack. It's the actual design of Knack. It's too complex to be a new mascot. Also, the game's kind of hard as well. Like, kids would have a problem with it. Like, yeah, you don't have lives, but a kid would just, you know, give up at some point. But yeah, the actual game itself, it's not too terrible. It's not great, but it's not too terrible. It's a below average platformer that, you know, is kind of funny. It's kind of funny, and you know, Knack's a charming protagonist, and you got Yuri Lowenthal in it, so at least it's well voice acted. Mega Man 11. Mega Man 11, I know how popular Mega Man is. I know how much people love Mega Man, but I can't fucking do it. I can't do it. I just can't. I don't know if it's because I don't do 2D platformers. I'm not that kind of person, and the fact that I'm not really into retro style games, which is weird because I'm into Axiom Verge. But yeah, I couldn't get into it. I'll probably give it another go or give it another shot, but I couldn't get into it when I tried to play it. Nier Automata is amazing. It's so good. It's platinum at its best. Also, Square Enix, big up Square Enix, my favourite video game company. They make my favourite franchises. What can I say? They made Kingdom Hearts and they made Final Fantasy. Those are my favourite franchises. What can I say? But yeah, Nier Automata is an amazing game. I can't really say much more than that. But yeah, I felt everything, and the ending is so good, so amazing, and yeah. Also, there's a lot of philosophical stuff, and it asks a lot of questions of the player, and it's like, what is the morally good choice, and what is the ethical choice, and you also commit mass genocide, but they're robots, so who cares? Project Cars is one of the worst driving sims ever, and I'm not even a big fan of driving sims. This is the only one that I own, but it's one of the worst things I've ever played. Boy, it's so slippy. There's almost no control. You have to be playing with a steering wheel to be able to actually control your vehicle, and there's no background music. And also, I had a glitch where it wasn't even giving me a map of the track that I was going through, or the speed that I was in, or the gear. It wasn't giving me any information unless if I paused the game. I don't know if everyone else had that, but it might be for immersion, but I feel more immersed when I know what speed I'm going at. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, and I might as well lump in Shadow of War. Amazing game, amazing combat system and everything, but I can't fucking do it. I can't do it, to be honest. Everyone else is saying, it's an amazing game, you should play it. It's gonna be really, it's right up your alley. Yeah, it would be, if I wasn't so shit. If I wasn't so shit at games, it would be right up my alley. But unfortunately, I'm shit at games, so it's not. I just can't, I just get killed by everything, and then everything else levels up, and then I get killed by them again, and then they level up. I can't do it. Speaking of something that I can do, and is also right up my alley, Spider-Man. Insomniac Spider-Man. If you own a PS4 and you don't have this game, go out now, buy it, come back, watch this video, and give me views, like, subscribe, all that lovely stuff, and play this heckin' game. It's so amazing. You need to play Spider-Man. If you're a fan of Spider-Man, if you own a PS4, if you're a fan of Marvel comics in general, if you're a fan of games, if you're a fan of video games, which I'm assuming everyone is because you clicked on a video that's got video games in the title, and you own a PS4, which you probably do because it's a video that's got PS4 in the title, then either you already own this game, or you've been wanting to buy this game. It's probably really cheap now. You can probably get it really cheap. But yeah, it's amazing. It's so good. The ending will make you cry. I had a friend who said, "Oh yeah, the ending would be sad, but it's not very well scripted. It's not very well written." Bollocks to that. It's one of the best written endings in any game. I will struggle to find a game that treats a superhero source material as well as this. Yes, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but also it's a very boring game. This is both very, it changes the source material. A lot of the stuff from the comics isn't the same in this, and it's also not the same as the movies, if you're into the movies. This is more accurate to the comics than the movies, but also it's very different to the movies as well, with what actually is going on. There's also 7 years into. It's also 7 years into Spider-Man's actual career. But yeah, just buy this game. Just do it. It's so amazing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan. I've done a whole video on this. I'll put it in the card. It's terrible. It's god awful. It's way too short. Um, it plays like a mobile game. It plays like a mobile game. It plays like Marvel Future Fight. It just does. It's really dang terrible. It just do yourselves a favour. I spent 18 quid on this game, and it lasted 4 hours. 4 hours. It's so shit. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. It's the only Uncharted game I own, because I got it from my sister's ex, and it's pretty good actually. I really want to go back and play all the Uncharted games, but I struggle to find the time. I've got too much on my plate at the moment, games wise and just life wise. But Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is a really good game. I just really want to play the others. I just want to play the others because this is good, but it's short, and the villain's kind of meh, and the actual story. It's just, oh, we'll go to an island. We're gonna steal some stuff. That other person wants to steal it. Oh no, that guy's actually a terrorist and trying to kill me. And the brother of the protagonist of the actual main series games, he's here too. And oh no, people are shooting us. And save the day when we don't get the treasure, but we saved the village. Who knows? The last game I'm going to talk about, The Witcher 3. You want me to sing its praises, don't you? You want me to stand here and say it's the best game I've ever played, it's my favourite game, it's the best game of the last decade, it's possibly the best game ever made. I can't do it. I can't do The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3, I found it really difficult to play. Not that the game's hard or anything. It's not really, but I had a lot of problems with it. Like, the story. I'm pretty sure the story is brilliant, but when you actually play the game, about 7 hours in, and you don't get any new attacks, you don't get any new magic spells. You don't actually upgrade. You don't. The Geralt that you start the game as is the same Geralt that you have throughout the game. Maybe you get new armor. You probably get new armor, but I'm sorry, but The Witcher 3, I don't really get it. I'm sure it's an amazing game, but for me, I just can't do it. So that's all the games that I have for PS4. It's probably annoyed a lot of people because I'm good at that, but also these games are bloody brilliant. All of these games, apart from a few, I typically only buy games that I'm interested in. I've either seen a lot of hype around it, a lot of buzz, or it's about something that I'm interested in, like a comic book, or it's got Square Enix in the on the front cover somewhere. But yeah, it's probably a smaller collection than a lot of you have at home. And yeah, most of my games are physical. I do have digital games. I've got Warframe, I've got Dauntless, and Fortnite. But yeah, don't put in the comments, he's gay, he plays Fortnite. I got it once so I could play it with a friend, and then haven't touched it since. It's just sitting there, taking up storage space. my PS4 storage space where other games could be. That's an idiotic choice. But yeah, see you guys in the next video. If you like this one, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.